Lenny.
Okay. See, you're so ridiculous.
I know.
I'm setting up. Fantastic. How you doing? What's happening? From New Britain, Una's very sneaky and started right while I was getting this all together.
I got excited.
So listen, everybody. Welcome. This is an amazing space. Thought I'd shoot this video from here. This is the cellar of my grandma Sophie's house. Grew up down here. And really what this is now is this is where my father does so much of his creation now. This is drum set. It's a classic. You know, grew up with this set. My father's different art and posters all over the place. It's so important for each and every single one of us. See, Una, you caught me off guard. Now everything's a mess.
Look at
it's
the
all right.
picture of your dad behind you.
Yeah. And a lot of some illustrations, a lot of memories. It's funny you all walked in. We still have tapes here, right? With an old school jam box. Hilarious. But that's the way we do it. Why? Because it's really important to have an area where you could really be creative and not worry about being messy. And this is definitely a place that my father's created in what used to be and is now currently our home, but what was my grandma Sophie's home, where I spent so much time and my mother grew up. Now it's ours, and this is part of what it has become. So anyway, welcome. I thought that this video would be all about sharing my tools. Why am I doing this? I'm doing this because I'm often asked, like, what's the most important things to do or to get as if I'm starting off cutting, or what do I need to think about with my comb? So I thought I would just go through my entire, what I'll call my essential kit, all right? And the various things I have in it, the reason why I think they're important, and some things for you to think about when you're figuring out the tools that you're gonna choose to create your artistry. Why? It's super important that I say this before I even get started. Anything that I'm sharing, this is what's right for me. In this particular instance, there's really no right or wrong. There's either working or working, and that's individual to the person. I'm gonna share with you, when we look at my tools, what makes them right for me, and then you can factor in those things into your decisions in getting the tools that will help you create your artistry behind the chair. In hair cutting, also worth noting, as you all may or may not know, I'm a hair cutting and styling specialist. I'm not a colorist, so I won't be making any, I won't be speaking to any colorist tools that are essential, all right? So the first thing that we're gonna get started with is the case, all right? So the very first thing that we wanna think about when we're carrying our tools around, this case, it's actually a really special case. The teacher, the woman who taught me how to cut hair gave me this case many years ago. Yeah. Her client was making custom leather work, and this was something that she had made for her, and that amazing leather artist made the same thing for me. Due to my relationship with her named Amita, so that was really something I'm really grateful for. Always grateful for all the people that taught me how to do what it is that I do, as well as all of the different tools and interesting things that I've picked up along the way. You'll see a number of them as we share today. Listen, a couple of things about your case. I can say this thing about this case. It rolls up to be quite compact, actually. That's important. A lot of my life has been spent on the road, while not currently. This case has definitely been with me well over a decade, and has been really at minimum all over this country and many parts of the world to teach people how to cut hair. So I know that it stands the test of time. Now, mind you, there's other ways to think about cases too. There's shoulder cases. There's things that even can combine more things in it. Like, I have a little bit of what I consider my essential tools that I'll speak on a little bit. This is my essential, like, styling things. And 4 things, I'll speak about them in a moment, but that's essential for me. Yeah, and I'll explain why in a moment. But this is one of these things where you can get a larger version that will include other things such as hair dryers, brushes, etc., or something that just deals with scissors, combs, clips, and those type of tools. So always factor that in. Also worth noting, I have I call it a smash to glass kit, actually, in my apartment, which is actually even more minimal. It's like 1 pair of shears, The pair of shears that my very first cutting teacher ever gave me, actually. So that's definitely classic. A comb and like 4 clips. So it's like if I leave work and I have to travel and I forgot my kit, I can still like make it happen when I'm on the road. So that's that for cases and things to think about with them. The size that you want to deal with, the material that you want to have them made of, and how resilient you need them to be due to travel or other things that you're doing while you're utilizing your case. Next, let's talk about scissors. Let's start right there. So for me, as a haircutting specialist, I actually don't have a whole lot of scissors. To be honest with you, I have an extra pair, 2 pairs at home, like I shared, but these are the ones that I roll with, and quite frankly, I only use primarily 2 of these. So we'll start with that. 1, boom, these are my money makers right here. I love these shears. I have had them for many years. I believe that these actually might have, wow, they've served me pretty much the bulk of my entire career, actually. They're amazing. They're lighter. They're small. That's something that you can see about the scissors that I used to cut. I cut every haircut ever with these scissors. I don't like, oh, and now I'm doing longer haircuts. It's like great, long layers, boom. Pixies, boom. Men's barbering, what? You see where I'm coming from? Like all roads end in these scissors, all right? And that's why I call them my money makers. Now, a couple of words on this. I use very small scissors. I think these are 4.5s. A couple of things that I've observed. Again, not that I think this makes them right, just they're right for me. Things to think about. People that I've known that cut very sharp geometric shapes, strong geometric shapes, tend to use smaller scissors. All right, allows you to get into more detailed areas a lot easier, to be honest with you. Those that I know that have a more flowing, looser, more organic style in their hair cutting tend to use larger shears. I personally, I have this pair. I dig them. They have a really cool offset blade. Oh, there you go. They have a really cool offset blade that's actually designed in a curve so that as you close them, it won't push hair while you cut. So what's funny about that is the big thing about that was like, oh, look what way you could do your lines, right? Your one lengths. And I started cutting them. I'm too used to a small scissor. So I don't know about what the blades do. I don't know about all of that. I know that I was like, you know what? Here we are, back to the money makers. And then what I did recruit these scissors too, is they're primarily all of my scissor over comb work with my barbering. That I find very useful because they're a wider blade, so I can cover more ground as I work up and down the head in my scissor over comb work for barbering. So they have been proven essential for me. Right? Like I say, it's like somebody else is probably using these and being like, oh my God, these are the best things ever for one length. They weren't for me. They were the best things ever for scissor over comb, at least initially in my work with that. With this said, I do not, as you notice, on all of my scissors except 2, maybe an unconscious prejudice against these larger scissors is that the tang is built in. I always remove the tang of my scissors. I find I can't cut with the tang in the scissors. I can't cut with those swivelly things either. Not mad at it, I just can't do it with them. I'm a bit of a showman, so I like to flip my scissors, and if there's a tang there, then I can't flip my scissors, so it's a no. And it sounds ridiculous, but as an assistant,
a drummer at heart.
Please, yes, I remember the stylist who I was like, oh my God, there was a lot of those kind of flippy things and little things that I dug when I was an assistant. That I was like, man, I can't wait to be doing that. And because of that, I emulated it. I took the tang off, and because I learned that way, it's and this is worth noting. The tang is good to stabilize your finger, so I'm not saying no to that, right? So that you can keep more precision in this bottom blade, you see? So I can see it. However, because I grew up not using one, I do the same thing, but I just don't need the pinky. But it's like, why make it harder for yourself? If you're still learning, maybe the tang is best. Again, what works is very individualized to the individual. Hence individualized, and so I just want to share the reasons why I may or may not be doing something, and that is my story with the tang. So these are the money makers. Then these next ones that I have, because of my role as director of education in the salon and various other educational things that I do. These are analogous to these, not quite the same. Even though now I'm looking at them, they are eerily similar. But I will say that I use these to cut my mannequins. These never touch mannequins. These only touch live hair. I want to make sure that I always have something ready to address the mannequin situation because I never want to use my favorite scissors to cut a mannequin. As we all know, mannequins dull hair. Mannequin hair dulls scissors quicker, so I wouldn't want to do that with my favorite pair of shears so that when a client, a human being actually comes in, my scissors are all dull from cutting, fake people's hair. You dig where I'm coming from? Fantastic. So that's why I have these. These are so that I'm always ready. You know something? Allow me to say something really quickly about that while I'm on the scissors. And you'll see this is true for my combs and my clips and everything else. I have a lot of extras of stuff. And there's a saying, if you stay ready, you'll never have to get ready. What does this mean? It means that a lot of what I've built up in my kit, I built up because for one reason or other, I found that I needed it and I didn't have it, and I vowed to myself that I'd never be caught slipping again, so here it is. 2, I will say, I've made some of the most important and amazing career connections, artistic connections, and creative connections in my career because I was prepared and because I had extra stuff. Sometimes the introduction to your hair hero, if you're backstage at a photo shoot or a hair show or whatever the case may be, your in may be just the fact that, you know what, their comb broke and you're the only one near them with a comb. I cannot tell you how many times that's happened in my career. And it's made the hugest bit of difference because remember, behind any level of success, and this is my opinion, I believe that there's work, there's mastering craft, and there's always a lot of luck. All right? And luck is that thing when, what do they say, when preparation meets something? I don't even know. Chance meets preparation, something like that, whatever. The point is that when that moment arrives, you always want to be ready. And that's a big reason why I have multiples of things, combs, all these things, because I found in the course of my career that a lot of these things have been major icebreakers to the relationships and to the mentors and to the teachers that I've had throughout the days. And like I say, the biggest difference was that when they needed a comb, nobody else had one, and I did. So, word to the wise. Take with that.
Bonus tip.
Pro tip, right? Awesome. Great. So that's my extra scissors. Second, we already went over my longest scissors. We went over the reason that they have the solitang and my perhaps unconscious bias to these particular scissors. However, I have still found use to them in barbering capacity. And I will say this too about these larger scissors, just so that we're clear. I have found, and maybe I said this earlier, but it just bears repeated. People that do tighter, more geometric type of shapes tend to use smaller scissors. People that have more flowy, organic, softer type of shapes, I've noticed use larger scissors. And I repeat this because of this. This isn't necessarily about hand size. This isn't necessarily about a lot of things. It's really about, can you keep control of the blade that you're working with? Because I'm so used to keeping control of this amount of blade. I've been cutting hair for over 20 years. If I go to cut a whole haircut with this blade, I'll actually cut myself. I'm not used to this much extra blade. Does this make sense? It's not about the size of my head. It's about my hand. It's about what you're used to. All right? So don't be like, oh, I have small hands, I need small scissors. That may or may not be true. It's about how much of the blade you can keep track of while you're actually producing your work. All right? So think about that and always remember that it's about the way they feel in your hands. I will say this, I do believe this, and I actually want to apologize for this, is honestly, I would never buy a pair of scissors from a website off of a computer without having touched, held, and actually cut with them first. I will say that. And that's my opinion. I'm sure many people have had another type of experience out there, fantastic, and I'm not taking that away from you. I'm saying for me, this is something that becomes so personal and is so key to the way it is that you do what it is you do from a creative standpoint as well as a revenue standpoint. That's not something that I want to look at. That's something I actually need to feel. What's the weight like? What's the feeling like? and then you want to investigate what's the metal made out of. The metal and the material that it's made out of will determine whether that blade will stay sharp longer or sharp shorter. All right. This is all a matter of folding metal, the quality of metal, the quality of so many of the processes of it. It's all super relevant, and it's all definitely things that require its own deep dive. However, I will generally say that when it comes down to it, it's like some of the cheapest things I own actually work for me the best, if that makes sense. And we'll go over some of these things that I have that's like, where'd you get that? Like Walgreens, you know what I'm saying? And it served me better than fancy version, to be honest with you. I may need to replace it more because it's not the same quality, so that's a thing. But scissors is one of those things that, you know, invest in those on the front end, and they'll serve you throughout an entire career. Actually, many of these speak to that in my life and in my career. So, boom, putting that back. Next, we have my 2 pairs of blending shears. I do not have I don't have notching shears. I don't have any of those kind of texturizing shears. I call these blending shears because of the amount of teeth. These teeth are at least 28. I think this one is actually at 30 or 32. Really, one of my really great friends gave these to me, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Dylan, at the salon that I worked at and grew my career for 17 years. He gave these to me, and they've served me well ever since. Why do I like them? I like them, one, when I speak to blending shears as opposed to these other type of texturizing shears. Whenever I texturize in hair cutting, I personally was taught, I do everything with these when it comes to texturizing. I look for where there's weight. I look for where there's weight, and I take it out, and where there's not, then I don't. These remove weight evenly across an entire spectrum. Hair doesn't grow evenly in density across an entire spectrum, so that's not the way I dress it. Not mad at those that do, I'm just sharing why I don't. So why I tend to use these most is scissor over comb and barbering work. All right, that's where these serve me the most. I love these because these have an even finger hole. That sounds funny. I'm sure there's a more professional word for that, but that's all I got right now. So it's even, not offset. See how these are all offset? I cut with offset shears, right? I'm a righty. I cut with shears that are set for a righty. These are, you know, universal. All right? Yeah, right? Right? So here's the deal. Why does this work for me with these? I find, and this is in a haircutting tutorial that I have available, but that's a separate conversation. It's about barbering. When the teeth are facing the client and I do my barbering work, if a growth pattern is growing up into the hair, up into the interior, cutting with the teeth facing the client away from me, that allows the hair to actually subtly be pushed down some. When I flip and those teeth are facing me and I do the same thing, it can address wanting to make it flip up a little bit more, or upward growth, or encourage it to go up. So I can help fight growth patterns with these while I'm doing my barbering scissor over comb work. When I first learned how to cut hair, actually I was introduced to clippers later. I was taught how to fade hair with scissors and combs, actually. So that's why these become very important to me. Worth noting, I have since incorporated clippers into my itinerary. I will not be including them in this because I am I'm a person who does both female and male clientele, but in a salon environment. I am not a licensed barber. I do know how to cut with clippers. I believe that I cut with them well. However, for me and in my work environment, the bulk of my work is actually done with this. My male clientele, it's not a barber shop. I do have more female clientele than male, so that is why this is essential to me. Is this all making sense? Mm-hmm. I just want to make sure that what I'm sharing with you, you're understanding the context that I'm sharing it, and where I work behind the chair and why it's relevant for that. It doesn't make it that it's relevant for you. If you work in a barbershop, this needs to look like clippers, edgers, and a whole other situation as your essentials, yeah? The combs look different. The scissors look, everything looks different because that's your essential kit. Make sure that whatever type of artistry and whatever type of clientele you're servicing, your kit is geared towards it, all right? And I do cut, as I shared, both men and women. I do cut all textures, all densities, all lengths. If it's hair and needs cutting, I can cut it. Okay, I do not do chemical services, so I know how to cut everything in its natural state. Okay, so that's why this works for me and in the type of work that I've done in the bulk of my career. Cool? Cool. All right. And this extra pair of blending shears, to be honest with you, I'm not mad at them. They're offset, so it forces me to do one thing. I like the weight of them, so it's cool. You never know when you need something extra. I don't use them a lot, but I got them just in case. You dig where I'm coming from? Boom, right? That plan B. That's plan B. You're going to be introduced to plan C, D, E through W right now. Because now I'm going to peep you on combs. Okay, so when I'm talking about combs, what have I got? I have, these are my primary combs, right? Now, worth noting, and I'll go from most important to least important right now, actually. Most important, these two, both the exact same comb, okay? In case I drop one on the floor, I got another one ready to go. Plan B, does that make sense? Boom. I really dig these combs. I like these YS Park combs. I'm not a representative of YS Park. I've just liked them ever since I've had them, so nobody's paying for me to say it. But it is the truth. I like the width of it from this perspective. I love the feel of it. I love the fact that you have this little tooth that's separated that makes it for easy to section. I like a lot of things about it, yeah? So that's why I dig this particular comb. And I like the type of tension that it gives me when I comb. I appreciate that. Worth noting, when I do my work, I tend to work a lot on a higher tension scale. I've seen people who cut very, very precise work using a comb with like very low tension, like this. Okay, so again, it's not that one works for the other. It's about that comfort level again, and it's about you understanding the type of work that you're trying to create and the tools that you're going to need for you uniquely to create your unique brand of artistry. Yeah, cool. So these are my go-to combs. 95% of haircuts I cut with these two combs. All right, for years. All right. Next, this comb. This is my wide tooth comb. All right. I'll use this for curlier textures, expansive textures. When I want less tension, when I just want stuff to fall literally naturally, I'll use this comb. I'll use it to sometimes detangle. I definitely use it within my barbering, right? I was taught to barber from widest to less wide, to then less wide to narrower, then into barbering combs. That's the way I was taught to barber. Okay, different class, but just showing you a little bit about that. So this comes into my barbering work as well. This will always start my scissor over comb work. We'll begin with this and then move to this. Okay, this is a big comb. That's why it's the next comb, right? It's like, boom, these were my main joints. Boom, that one's next. Boom, this one. This is my barbering comb. This is what allows me this is one of the major tools that allows me to cut fades. With no clippers, actually. The narrowness right here allows you to really get in right by the ear. The narrowness here allows you to get very, very close to the skin. I'm sorry, there. Right, so you can see how narrow that is right at that tip end. Yeah, and it's hyper flexible too. So if I needed to get around ear, see how flexible it is? It bends almost at a straight 90, for crying out loud. So you can really get very close with your technique if you were doing scissor over comb. Look at that. Ooh, what? Hairline, no hairline. You see what I'm saying? Fantastic, all right? Boom, so that's my next one with that. Then, boom, put that down. This one, to be honest with you, I don't even know why I have this comb. I will say this, that this is my plan, like, D comb. You know, like, you all know that day when, like, you're like, did somebody put butter on my combs? Like, they keep on dropping, right? And I start cutting with this falls out of my hands. I start cutting with this falls out of my hands. I'm like, okay, I really need to grab a different comb, but I don't want to deal with other stuff, and everybody on my team, my assistant, everybody's busy. So, okay, I'll make this one work, and then this one hits the ground, and it's like, all right, this is it, people. You dig where I'm coming from? Plan. It's like plan, yeah, this is plan, you know, A, B, C, D, I suppose. So I'll use it for that. And I keep extras. I cannot tell you the amount of shoots, the amount of educational events, everything, where people are like, does somebody have a comb? Yes, I do. By the way, my name's Yurish. What's your name? Oh, my name, I'm the lead. Oh, is that so? Well, I would love to, do you see what I'm saying? It's like, again, you know, you stay ready, you won't have to get ready. So I always have these extras. And these two, again, two more, I don't know why I have. This would be plan F. If I drop this comb, then I'll pick this one up. I don't like it because it's longer than what I'm used to, right? So it's not my favorite. I will use it sometimes in conjunction with this comb to do scissor over comb because of the length of it. Fantastic. But that's about it. And then this one, this is my carbon comb. I'll use that when I'm dealing with any type of hot tools. We're talking flat irons, we're talking curling irons, wands, whatever the case may be. Helps me to take it right out and it won't melt like all the others, okay? So there you have that. Let me stay organized as, you know what? No, I won't. I'll deal with this later. Ain't nobody got time for me to organize stuff as we go. Another combs. This is all super relevant. This comb. All right, this combs out really dense textures, really tight curl patterns, very highly expansive hair. I will also use this sometimes if I did a curling iron set. I will use this to brush it out to marry the sections together. Works very well on a number of different levels. And because of the metal teeth, there is a certain amount of curl pattern, a certain amount of hair density, and a certain amount of expansion that requires something. Let's just say this. I've tried to comb out that density and that texture of hair with this, and I've literally broke it. So I can tell you that. So there comes a point when, so that you're serving your client, and so that, one, okay, you're serving your client. Two, you're showing that you actually know what you're doing. Because when that hair texture comes, if you come at that client with this comb, they already know you don't know what you're doing because you wouldn't do it. Does that make sense? So that's number 3. And 3, it just helps, it just works quicker. It's more efficient and more effective for the task that is in front of you. And I do believe in a very widely diversified clientele so that you can really survive any economic storm without losing significant portions of your revenue. You're always leveraged in one direction or other, right? Somebody's always got money, that's the truth, right? And because of that, I like to be ready in knowledge, in skill set, and in tools to serve whoever I am honored and privileged enough to meet in my chair. Next, I have these combs. These are for my clipper over comb work, to be honest with you. To be double honest with you, I'm actually missing one of my combs currently. I've just discovered that. So that's a discussion that I'll have to have with the cats at the salon, you dig? Right? And actually, it's my favorite one, which is a real drag, but we're here and I'm shooting a video anyway. Why is it my favorite? It's even a little bit wider. It's about this long, it's about this heavy, real good, dense, good, it feels good weight, but it's about this wide. So when I do my clipper over comb work, I'm never afraid that the edge of the clippers are gonna spill over the top or by accident go underneath. It's a full guard that allows me to do it like effortlessly. Probably why some cat in my salon liked it so much, probably forgot to put it back. We all know that. I feel very fortunate that I work with a team that honestly I trust them. But we all know what it is when we're jamming and we're behind the chair and it's client after client after client. Sometimes we forget to return tools. I myself, I will throw that stone, but I will drop that stone before I throw it. But it is something that I strive to be conscious of. But, you know, mistakes happen, yeah? Awesome. Lastly, that I always have here, again, just because. You want to, you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. I have this too. Back combing comb and teasing little brush at the end. I always like to have that available as well, right? Most of my work in the salon, it is not updo work, to be honest with you. Never has been, yeah? However, I do know how to do it, and I am competent in it. And when a client wants that extra height or is used to back combing or whatever the case may be, however, whatever the order of the day is, I am ready for it, yeah? And this, while I have a number of different things in my updo kit, this is that thing that can serve a whole lot of different purposes. So that's why I only have this one, because if I was on a desert island, I could make it happen with that. You dig where I'm coming from? Another one, maybe, maybe not, yeah? All right, that is it for combs. Quite an adventure. Next, clips. Let's talk about clips. I have a couple primary clips right here that I use, and I use them all for very distinct purposes, actually. Okay, these clips, right? Currently, I'm using my man Drew Schaefering's clip, Crux brand, right? I like it because of the rubber band. I like it because of the teeth. Really holds the hair in place without like crinkling it too much. I really appreciate that. And why do I use these clips? I use these clips primarily when I'm cutting hair. I section out the front from the back, and these are the clips that I will use to keep the front of the hair away from when I'm working in the back. That's why I specifically use these clips. These clips. I have these clips. I have an extra bag of them too. I didn't bring those out because you don't need to see 20 of them. You just want a couple is the point. And I actually have 3 all the time. I'm actually missing 1. I must replace that. Separate issue. I will have 4 in my kit at all times. Why? I will use these in sections for brush sets. So, or curling iron sets. If I curl her, I'll recurl it, boom, plug it in place, let it cool, and then I'm on to the next thing. I have 4, so that I could do 4 of them, and by that time I can let out the first, because it will have cooled. Again, this is the battle kit, yeah? This isn't the dream kit, right? This is like, I gotta make it happen. Do I have the tools to make it happen? 4, I find, gives me that, because by the time I'm ready for 5, I can let down 1 and still have it fully cooled at that point, right? So I'll use it for that. Secondly, I cut a lot of my lines against the back so that it's at true 0 against the back with my fingers. So I'll use these to actually fold the cape or the gown forward and clip it so that the back is flat without all these wrinkles and hills and valleys, and I'm trying to do a 1 length. I know that's highly specific, but that is pretty much how crazy I am. But that's what it is, right? Boom. Then this one. This is the sneaky one, all right? This is a this is a finger waving clip, ultimately. Now, how do I use this? I learned how to use these from my old boss. Actually, the next 2 clips I'm going to share with you, I totally stole from my old boss, Andrew Todd, DiPietro Todd, Bay Area. One of my major teachers, one of my major mentors, and boss for 17 years. He used those clips. How did he use those clips? To section out very short lengths of hair. He used it to section men's haircuts. He used it to section out like graduated bob haircuts. Nothing sections haircuts with short lengths more precisely and better than that. And I will say that as a hair cutter for many, many years, and as a haircutting teacher for many years, sloppy sections, sloppy haircuts. So anything that allows me to section with more precision, I'm in for, and that definitely helps me do it. These clips, I use these, and I use these to clip up the interior of all hair, usually long. I gotta tell you, I initially would learn, and then I would clip this, and I'll tell you, I clip it, and depending on density or whatever, then it's unwinding, and I'm weaving it in like this, like I'm trying to figure out how to, I don't even know what, and it's like, why am I struggling like this? I watch my butt, he would section, he would go like this, clip, done. I was like, fabulous, stolen, right? Because these section, fine hair, medium density, thick density, no matter what, it's like clip and it stays. So I'm not sitting there trying to weave something through hair and hope that it stays and have it unwinding and all this nonsense. Please, life is hard enough. I can't fight with clips too. Dig where I'm coming from? Fantastic, all right? So that's that with my clips. Ooh, secret. Always, always, always have your shear oil available. It's always super important to have there. Next is my razor, my blades. This is I use a straight razor. I don't use a guarded razor. Straight razor blades, and always with a rubber band so that it never is open, so that I could cut myself by accident. So that stays in this pocket right here, so that I am always ready. Next, and I'm including these. These aren't in my hair cutting kit, but like if it was like, Yurish, we're calling you to do a client. We're not really sure what hair they have, and we're not really sure the way you're gonna finish it. But just bring like your base kit to deal with this client from start to finish. This is what I would bring. All right? It would deal with anything. And these are the added elements that I would add to that. So currently, right now, I'm dealing with this blow dryer. I'm working with a Sanvia blow dryer right now. Why do I like it? I like it because it is small, it is light, and it is actually powerful. Right? Fantastic. Things that don't often happen. I've had many blow dryers in my life, many of them good. I've had Elgin blow dryers, Super Solanos, Dyson, whatever. I've had a lot of them. Anyway, this is the one I'm currently using. I think it's a fantastic blow dryer. It served me well so far. I got the nozzle with it too. Great. Here's the point. With these blow dryers, there's many different weights of blow dryers. Some people like a heavier blow dryer. They like the feel of it. They like to feel like there's something in their hands, that they're working with something. Some people find that exhausting. They want something lighter. Some people find that with the work that they don't want such like a heavy, strong airflow, right? Some want like a hurricane, right? So here's the deal: is think about the type of work that you're doing with it. Think about the feel in your hand. What works best? This sounds ridiculous. Biggest thing that across all spectrums, and as I said, I've named brands of multiple blow dryers, so it's not like, oh, whatever. These are ones that have worked for me in the past. But I will say, one of the major features, and this is the thing about, this is you. Like, if I do this and I'm blow drying, and I will literally have things at a point where I keep turning the damn thing off. Or it keeps turning to cold. I'm like, I'm done with that blow dryer. I don't want to figure that out. Surely there's a blow dryer that I don't keep hitting the buttons. You think where I'm coming from? And there always is, all right? And there's somebody else who those buttons are in exactly the right place for. So again, to me, try it out, try it with friends, make sure that it fits your hand, make sure that weight is right. Sometimes the weight and counterweight can be difficult on certain blow dryers because of where the motor is or what have you. So really check it out and make sure that it works for you. And think about the marathon, not the sprint. We do a lot of clients behind the chair every single day, right? We're not a client who's just doing their own hair. We're doing 8 people's hair, 9 people's hair, 10 people's hair, more people's hair, right? So this is that thing that's got to last you a long time, and you want to make sure that it's of good quality. So make sure of those things, and make sure that it fits you well, all right? Don't worry about the way it fits your friend. Make sure it fits you. Next, this brush. This brush, I have another version of it, but this is the old school Denman. I have another type of brush like this as well that I really appreciate as well. But I will say this is I've said it to apprentices of mine, and I've said it to many students that I've taught. Without my Denman, I am nothing. I use this brush on everything. I use it to control hairlines. I use it to do bangs. Use it to do flat wrapping. I use it to growth patterns on long hair through the crown. I use it to control growth patterns on long hair, short hair, middle hair at the nape. I mean, this thing, boom. Where don't I use it? You dig? All right. So this is definitely one of those brushes I would bring with me, no matter what type of hair that I was doing at the time. Next, this right now, this is a medium round brush. Sam Villa again. Look at you, Sam. You better do it, brother. All right. So here, check this out. I don't have a really large one. I don't have a really small one. I have a relatively median size. I think this is 1.25 inches, I believe. To be quite honest with you, not about this, but I'll bring it up. I find that if I was going to do updo work, like 1.25 inches seems to work, for everything. So I believe this is 1.25 inches, maybe 1.5 inches. Not even sure. Looks like 1.25 inches. Anyway, I don't want anything too big, but I don't want anything too small either. I want something that can work no matter what the length. That's why I have it, and I have it ceramic for that reason as well. I realize that natural bristle brushes frequently are better for smoothing, but I also know that in a pinch, a ceramic brush with the synthetic brushes works for that too, right? So if that's what I need to do, I'll have that, and that's a no-brainer for me. And again, it's an essential tool that can be mixed and molded to many tasks with many lengths and many textures. And lastly, I will always have a diffuser with me. Pro tip. For a number of different reasons. I have definitely done this before an event. Quick, I need a diffuser, I need a blow dryer, grab them. Yeah, does the diffuser fit the blow dryer? Right, great. So just make sure that you check that. These are great tools for cooling off hair, right? If you're setting something, you can do a cool diffuse. It'll cool it off quicker and get somebody ready to roll faster. It's also the way to style curly texture hair in its natural state, all right? So, wow, quite a long journey for what I think is essential, and yet I do think that they're all essential bits, at least in the way they serve me and in the way that I work and in the many facets that I work within. You know, whether it be education, whether it be with clients behind the chair, whether it be different photo shoots that I've worked on or other type of things, I found that, to be honest, I've brought more stuff, but I've rarely used more than this, if that makes sense. So that's why I thought I would share my essentials with all of you. One last word, and I said it multiple times, but it bears repeating. All right, remember, all of these things, they work well for me. I've had to try a lot of different things before I found the stuff that was really right for me. Before I found what allowed me to express my artistry with the least amount of friction between myself and the implement that's allowing me to express it. This is what I've come up with. That said, I'm not closed-minded. I always will try new stuff. People tell me about new clips. They'll tell me about new products. I'm in. Do you know what I mean? But I'm also very honest with myself about whether they work, and I'm very honest with myself about whether it's worth it for me to teach myself how to work with something new, or do I already have something that does that exact task. So whatever you're going to get turned on to, no matter what you try, make sure that it works for you. Don't just purchase it or use it based on recommendation. And continue to practice that craft, be creative, and stay innovative, my friends. I hope that you thought this was useful. I can't wait to talk to you again soon. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I hope you all have a space that you can truly create in. This is a very inspiring space. I'll be filming more videos down here. Just the air in it gets me hyped. Do you know what I'm saying? Absolutely. Stay creative, my friends. Stay safe, stay healthy. Take care. Later.